Good morning. My name is Donna Marie Collins. I'm the hearing examiner that will be presiding over this morning's hearing. This is a request for a special exception in the agricultural zoning district to permit a 4 COP to allow the service of alcohol, liquor on a site that already has a special exception to serve beer and wine. All testimony and evidence that I take in during these hearings must be taken in under oath. So if you plan to speak on the record, I ask that you please swear in at the end at the conclusion of my remarks. Do we have any members of the public here? No. Okay, so I'm going to truncate my normal process. If you haven't had a case before me before, just so that you know, the applicant goes first. They explain the request, how it meets the criteria of the Land Development Code. Following your presentation, the county planner that reviewed the application and prepared the staff report will make a brief presentation highlighting the rationale behind any conditions that have been recommended. And then after that, I'll go back to me. I may ask some questions, and then we'll close the hearing. All right. So if you plan to enter testimony or evidence into the record, please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony and evidence you place into the record will be the truth?
You do.
Okay, thank you. I'm ready to begin.
Right. Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner. Staff, for the record, Keith Long, Attorney Long Law, PA, here on behalf of the applicant Blossom and Brie, LLC. We are here before you today to request a special exception for the site located at 19796 D&L Ranch Drive, also known as Rosie Tomorrow's Way. The request before you today is for a special exception in the Ag 2 zoning district pursuant to LDC 341264 subsection A2, allowing for consumption on premise both indoor and outdoor in conjunction with a full-service restaurant situated on an 86-acre working farm known as Blossom and Brie. As you stated, Madam Hearing Examiner, the site is currently operating as an agricultural use with an ancillary agritourism food and beverage operation known as Blossom and Brie. It's my understanding you've visited the site and are familiar with that. So just for the purposes of the record, I will state it's a full-service restaurant operation to the extent that it offers the ability for diners to come in and have a 3-course meal. They currently are operating under a 2 COP, which is obtained under SEZ2024-00009, which provided for the opportunity to operate the restaurant in conjunction with the agro-tourism district for beer and wine. It's my understanding at the time that the reason that the applicant submitted that request was because they did not meet the Florida statutes requirements for the ability to sell liquor in conjunction with beer and wine for a full-service restaurant. Since that time, the Florida statute has changed legislation to lower the minimum standards for square footage and seating that the applicant now would be able to benefit from. And so the nature of the request now is to basically bump up the ability to not only serve beer and wine in conjunction with the full service restaurant, but now to add liquor to the shelves. I mean, primarily that's the extent of the nature of the request. We're before you today rather than an administrative action for said request due to the site's location and proximity to a county park, which is situated within the 500-foot distance buffer required for consumption on premise in the LDC. As I have here before you on the screen, the site itself is situated to the west of the property in the Ag 2 designation there, and the park in question, which triggered the request here today, is to the right. It's known as Nallgrade Park. As far as the staff report, certainly they did a wonderful job, and I'll allow them to delve into the details and particulars more so than I would do here today. Certainly we would recommend their approval as well, and I'll get into one minor modification of the conditions. But as far as our obligations as the applicant, it's our position that the LDC criteria applicant contends that the operation of the business described herein is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the LEAD plan and its designation in the open lands category. So just a brief overview, open lands category, the plan does state in part that the open lands category is characterized by agricultural and low-density residential uses. Commercial and industrial uses are permitted in this category in accordance with the standards of the rural category. And so for that and other reasons, the LEAP plan, it's our opinion that the LEAP plan does contemplate for the applicant's business, which again is primarily agricultural farmland use with ancillary agritourism, food and beverage operations, with the intent, of course, being promoting agricultural education and awareness through a unique dining experience. As far as compatibility, again, the site is primarily remote. It's in the urban category or open lands category. It's a lot of rural farmland out there, 5-acre ranchettes, as you'll see, with some residential situated therein, and then, of course, in other areas, larger tracts, which are more compatible with the applicant's land.
Tom, can you adjust the view here so I can see more of the area? Okay, thank you.
So you'll see there's to the east and primarily to the north, there's 5-acre tracts wherein there's some residential uses. They are buffered to a significant extent by the nature of the applicant's property, which you'll see is further south from their property on Nallgrade Road. The property itself, as far as compatibility, the surrounding uses, again, it is primarily agricultural, and it's existed in its current operation, which of course remains substantially similar following the outcome of this hearing. As far as the agricultural uses, I believe that they've been operating for a little over 10 years. Is that correct? Well, no, not you yourself, but the restaurant, and during that time period, there's been no issues on record from nearby property owners or members of the public with regards to incident reports or anything like that. So the use is a relatively benign use. It certainly, in our opinion, achieves the extent that it's out for with regards to the parameters of the agritourism. And so we went through the LEAP plan, we went through compatibility. So yeah, in conclusion, obviously, we would request your approval of the request pursuant to the staff report and the conditions based therein. The only deviation from those conditions, if I could, Madam Hearing Examiner, was due to a mistake on my own part. If you would look at, refer to the staff report, page 3, with the, I'm sorry, page...
The conditions are in
4, yes, ma'am. I was looking at the policies. If would direct your attention to section 3, the hours of operation. Again, those were due in part, the staff received those figures from my application itself, which I inadvertently obtained at some point in time from, it's my understanding, the applicant. But those are not subject to the request here. The reason that we're asking for a deviation from those is, in an ideal world, we would like for the condition to allow for operation Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. midnight, and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. So 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday to Friday. Sorry for that.
Okay, I'm confused. 8 to 11, that would only be...
8 a.m. to 11 p.m. I apologize.
That's Monday through Thursday.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll tell you just a moment where I got these from. And then Friday and Saturday is 8 a.m. to midnight. And the reason that we would ask that is the current approval for the 2COP includes those hours. And although that's obviously not their intended operating hours, it allows for flexibility for the applicant to host an event that might exceed beyond the hours that I mistakenly included in the application. For example, they just recently held a fundraiser, I believe, to the benefit of the Galisanos Children's Hospital that lasted beyond the 8 p.m., I believe until about 9 or 9:30.
All right, so you'd like to match the hours...
Of the previous COP
previous
approval. Yes, ma'am. Which again were 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to midnight.
Okay. And amplified sound as well, I see that they've limited...
Yeah, that I wasn't sure about. We were certainly going to request that be removed as well. I mean, we currently have noise ordinances that would provide for the enforcement.
Yeah, I was just curious as to the difference in the hours of operation and the conditions, but I'll speak to staff about that.
Yeah, that was my mistake. So it was included in my application.
Okay.
And it's based on the current operating hours of the actual restaurant itself. The application, of course, was submitted some time ago. They just recently took over and acquired the business within the last year, and so they were also working out their own modifications to how they're going to operate as far as hours. And so between my mistake and their learning of how the business operates, and my understanding now that the previous approval was for the time frame that I had just requested, it allows more flexibility for the applicant. Again, if you're familiar with the site, familiar with the operation and the rural nature of it, obviously it's not going to be an operation where they're running late hours into the evening. It just allows for the applicant to, again, host an event or an organizer, fundraiser that would go beyond the typical operating hours into.
If you're able, can you show me the perimeter of the property? I see the area where the COP will apply, but.
Yes, ma'am. So it's as you, yep. This area here. So it's on a larger tract. It's 87, I believe it's 86-acre tract, and so the portion of the COP is limited to this 5-acre tract here. So it's even further insulated and buffered from surrounding
Right.
operations,
So
and then the park itself obviously is not
there's a
operating.
distance from the nearest homes that are under separate ownership.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further?
No, ma'am. With that, the applicant would conclude its remarks, and again, thank you for your consideration and request that you approve the request consistent with the staff report with the modifying factors to the conditions for the time as
Okay,
requested.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rom?
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, from the County Zoning. My resume is on file. I was recognized as expert in zoning and land use. I would like to be recognized.
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. This case was properly advertised, and I have a copy of the.
Thank you. I'll enter that in as Staff Exhibit 2. Staff Exhibit 1 is the staff report.
All the request is to upgrade their liquor license from 2 COP to 4 COP in conjunction with a limited food and beverage service. And the location is on a road called Rosie Tomorrow's or DNL Ranch Drive, which you cannot Google and find it. And this is the location, basically. They are requesting this through a public hearing because they are within 500 feet of a public park. It's, which one is the, okay. This is the park here, and they are abutting the park. They, basically, same thing showing the park, and the future land use designations open lands. And the zoning is AG2, next to CF, which is community facility, which is the park. This is the area, 5.23 acres of the site. They are requesting to have that COP. They are in open lands future land use category, which allows, which is policy 1.4.4, allows agricultural uses and low density residential. This use basically is an agricultural use, and the liquor license is accessory, ancillary to the limited food service, which is ancillary to agritourism, which is a permitted use in the ag district. And policy 9.1.3, which is our agricultural area requirements, basically tries to protect agricultural uses, agricultural areas from urban intrusion but this is a bona fide agricultural use, and it will be kept as a bona fide agricultural use. And they also in compliance with Goal 18, they are in Bayshore community, which requires protection and preservation of the existing residential and agricultural uses. With that said, staff recommends approval of this request. And subject to conditions. About the timing, yes, they were allowed to have it from 8 a.m. until 11, like in 2015
Right, the original
when they
approval
approved.
allowed different hours than what's recommended in your staff report.
Correct.
How do you feel about their request?
Well, that's fine because they operated those hours for the past 10 years and we never had any complaints.
Okay, so you have no objection?
No, I have no objection. It's just that I copied those from the application and that's the only reason that
Okay,
it's in there. With that said, staff recommends approval subject to modified conditions.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have any questions. You may not know this, but I handled the original request a few years ago for the beer and wine. I'm familiar with agritourism and the standards that apply. I've been to the site, I've already conducted my site visit, so it shouldn't take me too long to prepare a final decision in this case. Do you have concluding remarks?
Madam Hearing Examiner, if I may, yeah, just a correction on my request for the hours, just came to my attention when I was just mimicking the hours of the previous approval. That does not include Sunday. At the time, it did not include Sunday.
Do you want to include?
Yes, ma'am. So it would be Sunday through Thursday for the 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then the Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to midnight. And of course, I'm not sure whether staff would agree to that or not, but that's just, that's,
fine.
okay. Other than that, thank you again for your time and consideration. Would have been page 7 of the previous approval.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so just to recap, the hours are going to be Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And Friday and Saturday will be 8 a.m. to midnight.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any additional questions. Thank you very much. The staff report was comprehensive. I felt well prepared for the case. I've already conducted my site visit. Thank you for your presentation. And that concludes the hearing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.